I want to ask, because we lived through such a moment in sports history that we might never see anything like it again. I'm talking about this rivalry between Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. Of course, since you love Real Madrid, you naturally love Cristiano Ronaldo. But what can you say about it? A lot of people call him the absolute best. And for many, Messi is number one. There's also a very good book about their rivalry. I recommend it. It basically tells the story of modern football through their rivalry. Messi versus Ronaldo, one rivalry, almost 20-year era.
Yeah.
Two GOATs in an era that remade the world's game. So it's been 20 years. So what can you say? Why do you consider Cristiano Ronaldo a great footballer? What do you like about him? Let's start with Ronaldo.
Well, he's a natural-born athlete. He is, God gave him that athleticism, and he managed to maintain it. There are many who have lost it.
Mm-hmm.
There are many players who have talent, physical ability, but they are lazy. But he has it all: athleticism, talent, hard work, everything. And then there's this. He played in Manchester, he shone in Portugal at Sporting, then moved to Manchester.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not easy to make your mark at Manchester. From 2003 to 2008, he became a star there. And what he achieved in 2008, just look at how many individual trophies he won and how much he won with his team. You can even look it up. Just search what Cristiano Ronaldo achieved in 2008. It's simply unbelievable. And then he moved from Manchester. He transferred to an even more difficult club, Real Madrid. 9 years at Real Madrid.
Mm-hmm.
5 years at Manchester United, then 9 years at Real Madrid. That's about 15 years. You're under constant pressure at the two biggest clubs in the history of football. And at both clubs, he became the best. That's very difficult. Yeah, look here.
3 Premier League titles came during his time at Manchester United.
Look at 2008 specifically, what he accomplished then.
He won the Premier League. He won the UEFA Champions League.
Individually, he won the Golden Boot, top scorer in the Champions League, the Premier League, every major trophy.
Right.
But the point is that at Manchester, he spent 5 years performing at the highest level under enormous pressure. Then he spent 9 years at Real Madrid.
Yeah.
After that, he moved to Juventus, but only for a short time. And this is the part people tend to forget. He spent 3 seasons at Juventus, and he also won both the Italian Championship and the Super Cup there, and scored 100 goals. And just the fact that for 20 years, let's say 22 or 23 years, he's been at the highest level. Look at how many goals he scored. And now he's closing in on 1,000. Will Messi ever reach that number is the big question. Next season, he scores 40 goals in a season, and he's less than 40 goals away from the 1,000 goal mark. That's how unique he is in that regard. But just because I'm a Real Madrid fan doesn't mean I downplay what Messi has achieved. It's impossible to downplay what Messi's done. You have to give him the credit he deserves, but I wouldn't want to put one of them above the other. If I'm being honest, both of them, watching each other, competing with each other, they stayed there. Would Messi be Messi without Ronaldo? Would Ronaldo be Ronaldo without Messi? Those are big questions. I'm convinced they watched each other closely. They always have, and they still do now. For almost 20 years, they've been watching each other, pushing each other, and constantly improving. They were already the best, but that drove them even further. By competing against one another, they pulled so far ahead of the rest.
Yes.
Whether you're talking about achievements, trophies, and all that. And in that sense, their rivalry truly elevated the entire sport. More people started following football because of them, watching the games. So I believe both of them deserve tremendous respect.
Yeah, I'd say I completely agree with you that if Messi hadn't had Ronaldo and Ronaldo hadn't had Messi.
Yeah, would they have gone that far?
I don't think so.
That's an open question.
I don't think so.
Yes.
But for me, there is nobody like Messi. His pure love for the game for its own sake.
You're a Barca guy?
Yes.
Oh, really? Yeah, I can tell from the way you're talking about it. The way you...
You got me.
Yeah. Nothing against it, but...
Yes, sure.
Well...
I mean, Iniesta.
Xavi, Busquets, Iniesta.
Puyol. That was a legendary team.
Yes. No, but look, you can compare them like this. Iniesta, Xavi, Busquets, Messi, Ronaldinho, Piqué.
Ronaldinho, yes.
Ronaldinho, he was a bit earlier. That Barcelona team from roughly 2008 to 2012, that 4-year period. Only one team in history can compare with them, Real Madrid from 2014 to 2018. They won in 2014, in 2016, 2017, and 2018. The only interruption was Barcelona's team with Neymar.
With Neymar, yes.
With Suarez and Messi, that was 2015. Well, let's leave that aside. But, with Modric, Kroos, Casemiro, Ronaldo, Benzema, Marcelo, Carvajal, Casillas, and this team compared to Victor Valdés, Piqué, Puyol, Dani Alves, Jordi Alba, Busquets, Xavi, Iniesta, Villa, and Messi, for me, those are the two greatest teams. Different generations, different squads. For me, they truly represent true dream teams at football, at club level. That's the comparison. But if we look at the national team level, you could pick France in 1998.
Yes.
That 1998 France team is very close to a perfect team. And also 2002 Brazil. In 2002, they were extremely strong.
Yes, you had Ronaldo.
You had Ronaldo, Rivaldo, Ronaldinho, Roberto Carlos, Cafu.
Right.
You had Emerson. You had Kleberson, I think, Rookie Jr., Lucio, Edmilson. And beyond those superstar names, there were also very strong players who kind of stayed in the shadow of those stars.
Mm-hmm.
Stayed in their shadow. So, Brazil 2002, France 1998. And then there was later Spain from Euro 2008, the 2010 World Cup, and Euro 2012. At period 2, Spain, the Spanish national team was close to perfect.
I wanted to go back to France. You mentioned Zidane. I really, really respect and admire him. There was this moment, psychologically very interesting, almost Shakespearean moment in his career when it ended with that, how do you even call it?
A headbutt to the chest.
What's interesting is, I don't know, looking at your fight with Conor, when emotion builds up, for most of it, you're focused on the game, but in the end, you let that emotion out. What do you think about that headbutt?
I wouldn't want to judge him. Wouldn't want to be some kind of judge of what he did. No. Well, he did what he did. We don't know what was really going on there. But as a player, of course, he was unique. He won the Euros, the World Cup, reached finals, won the Champions League, the Spanish and the Italian championships, and cups too. It's just unique, and the way he played, I just always remembered him for the way sweat was just pouring off him, the way he ran, how he gave everything in every single match. He had incredible stamina, incredible endurance. I think a lot of people listening to this podcast may not have watched Zidane playing live. When I say live, I mean watching him play in real time.
Right.
I personally didn't see his games live. I was younger then. But I did watch many of his matches later on. I remember the goals he scored in World Cup finals in 1998 and 2006, especially the headers, and even that penalty. The Champions League final, European Championships, the way he played, the way he handled the ball, the way the ball was glued to his feet, his movements, and then his charisma. It's rare to find all of that in one player. You don't see that combination often. There are many very good players, but sometimes they're just not that interesting to watch. You know what I mean? I don't want to give specific examples because someone might take it the wrong way, so I won't name anyone. But there are players who are phenomenal in terms of their physical attributes, fast, explosive, effective, but they don't have charisma, that energy that makes people want to watch them. And I don't think that's their fault. But with Zidane, everything came together. You always wanted to watch him play. You always want to watch Ronaldo play. You always want to watch Beckham play. You want to watch Edgar Davids running around the field in those glasses. his hair bouncing behind him, right? You still wanted to watch the way Barthez played in goal. No matter how many bizarre goals he conceded, you still wanted to watch him play. Or Oliver Kahn, the way he stood in goal and directed the whole team. The way he would rush out to the ball, the way strikers were afraid of him. I mean, so many strikers have admitted that they were afraid if they found themselves one-on-one with Oliver Kahn in the penalty area. You always wanted to watch Roberto Carlos take a free kick or storm down the left flank.
Mm-hmm.
You always wanted to see Cafu or Michel Salgado make an overlapping run. The way Vieira stood there as the defensive midfielder, or somebody like Maldini, or like Rio Ferdinand, or somebody like that, you wanted to watch Casillas in goal. So, for me, and maybe for our generation, those players had something special.
Can you try to explain what charisma is? Like you said, there are good players, and then there's Zidane.
It's very difficult to explain. You either have it or you don't. Personality, right?
Yes, but there are so many different forms of it. Zidane, in a way, almost moved slowly. In a way...
But he'd carry the ball from midfield into attack incredibly quickly. So it's very hard to put into words, hard to explain it.
And both Ronaldos had that. I mean, the Brazilian Ronaldo, too. The way he played in those World Cups.
Yes.
It was just phenomenal.
98, 2002, even in 2006, when he was already past his peak. He was so fascinating to watch. Seriously, how many people turned on their TVs just to watch Ronaldo? People knew that was it, that in 2010 he wouldn't be playing. And even in 2006, he wasn't really in his prime. But still, so many people turned on the TV just to watch him play. And Zidane, 2006 was really, the peak of that whole generation of legends that had been building since 98, 2000, 2002, and 4. All the cream of the crop came in. Most of them weren't at their physical peak anymore, but their names were still there. Honestly, I think that for football fans, I'd recommend just looking up the teams and the lineups from the 2006 World Cup. Look at the rosters. Every single team had stars you wanted to watch.
Speaking of teams, what style of football do you like? You prefer short passing, long balls, individual plays, like Maradona carrying the ball, or, of course, Cristiano Ronaldo taking the ball and scoring himself?
Mostly those who take the initiative.
You like that?
Yeah, definitely. I like players who are willing to take the initiative. I was recently talking to Zlatan about this, and he said, it drives me crazy when I have players on my team who, when you pass them the ball, they immediately get rid of it. They don't want to take the initiative. When you have 3 or more players on the team, if there are 3 people on the team who are not afraid to make mistakes, that's usually enough. They take the initiative, take control of the game, drive the team forward, make mistakes, but they keep trying. And then there are others who hide, he says. They get the ball and immediately pass it to someone else. Just don't give it to me. Not me. Not me. They just want to get rid of the ball. It's like, it's like something one of Zidane's coaches once said. If you don't know what to do with the ball, give it to Zidane. He'll figure it out. So, you see, that's the thing. It's a quality. Not every player has. You're taking the ball. You're taking responsibility. You're taking the initiative. You are not afraid to fail. You're not afraid to make a mistake. Cristiano had a moment like that. He missed a penalty, and later in the same match, he stepped up to take another one. Think about that. You take the first penalty. You miss it. Then another penalty comes along, and you still step up to take it. Because if you miss 2 penalties in the same game, you're under a lot of pressure, right? But that's the point. You're not afraid to fail. As a leader, you take the initiative, and you're willing to take risks. That's honestly the beauty of it, the beauty of sports in general. The bigger the risk, the bigger the potential for greatness. If there's no risk, then you can't put yourself in the category of athletes people will talk about as some of the best ever.
Especially when it's a high-level game like the World Cup and...
Yes, the more risk, the sweeter the victory. There must be risk.
That's why they often speak of Maradona as a great player. There are many great players. He's great.
One of them, yeah.
For many reasons. But one reason is that he kind of carried the team on his shoulders.
He took the initiative and carried them. That's when he led Napoli, you know? When he led Napoli to the league title. Who knew Napoli then? Maradona came from Barcelona to Napoli and made them champions. And the whole stadium was named after him. Many guys played in Napoli, but there was never anyone like Maradona. And recently I saw somewhere, or I think someone pointed out, the pressure on the guys who are transferring to Napoli. Whoever you are, you will always be in Maradona's shadow. And you stay in the shadow because fans will never give you the credit you might deserve because they will always compare you to him. Are you Maradona or not? And if you're not Maradona, you will never get full recognition.
I want to say that one of the things that makes Messi great, I think, is that he really had to live in such a shadow of Maradona, and especially with the World Cup.
Yes.
It's not easy.
And he came out of it.
Hard to emerge from that shadow.
Yes. And he won the World Cup, yeah. In that sense, you have to give Messi his due. I'm addressing the Real Madrid fans now. Ours, yours, both
You're
sides.
explaining it to them.
Yeah.
I got you.
Most of them, I think, even if they don't like Barcelona, they still recognize Messi's greatness.
I know that you met Zlatan, you talked to him. I think he's one of the most self-confident people in football, in the world in general. What do you think about this confidence? Of course, he's joking around a little bit, but I think he really believes in himself.
Well, yeah, he does. I've known Zlatan for years now. We get along well, and I know his kids, and I like his personality. I like his confidence. I mean, he's a unique player. There are not many Zlatans in football. You know, wherever he played, he always scored. He's a goal scorer. He is that kind of center forward. And he always carried the team. He was a leader wherever he transferred. It doesn't matter. Milan, Inter, Juventus, when he moved to LA Galaxy, or Paris Saint-Germain. He was a leader everywhere he went. With the national team, with his clubs, he was always the guy driving the team forward, taking the initiative. And honestly, he cemented his place as one of the greatest players to ever play the game. And yeah, maybe he was, when it comes to trophies, not individual achievements, but team honors, Sweden wasn't exactly the greatest team. And some of the clubs he played for didn't always win the biggest trophies, but as an athlete, as an individual, as a person, he is a very strong athlete.